This just in here on CBS Sports HQ, getting you set for the ceremonial weigh-in between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, the Combat Brothers. Morning Combat. Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell with the live stream sync here on CBS Sports HQ.
We will get to more of those details. We have a lot of different fights to break down. But the crown jewel, Floyd Mayweather taking on Logan Paul, 8 rounds, 3 minutes a pop. Well, I guess we're going to see what happens. We're just moments away from going to the stage, and I believe the weigh-ins are going to get started. You're going to be up there as well, right?
Yes.
Brian Campbell's going to be there talking to them, getting them some questions.
Are they allowing Jake Paul in the building? Because there's going to be some shenanigans if they do.
I'm looking up at the ceiling.
So I know he's going to be at the fight tomorrow.
Oh, really? I heard he wasn't allowed to.
No, he got a weigh in.
Wow, good for him.
I
think
Logan
signing a Showtime boxing deal maybe helped.
Oh, we got him. There we go.
Right. But I don't know if he's here because this is actually a Mayweather Promotions event, so they may have told Jake to take a hike.
I would hold your breath on that. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens.
Floyd knows what's good for business. Jake's good for business. I bet they let him in.
Yeah, Jake is probably going to be. Real quickly, while we wait to go there, the Jake and Tyron Woodley fight, for folks who may not know, Logan Paul's brother, Jake Paul, is taking on Tyron Woodley, who is one of the more decorated welterweight champions in UFC history. If you don't know welterweight in MMA, it's 170 pounds. We're talking about a guy who was a Big Ten wrestling champion. He's huge, bricked up, a little bit long in the tooth. The end of his UFC run was bad. It was not great. But here he is boxing. This, to me, though, feels different than this one. Logan has an enormous hill to climb. Tyron Woodley's a very decorated champion, but he is longer in the tooth. He did lose a bunch of fights in the UFC before he got cut, or I guess released, depending how you want to look at it. But that's a winnable fight for Jake. Legitimately winnable.
Vegas thinks so.
Yeah, he's the favorite, right? Barely, but he's the favorite.
Yeah, Jake's the favorite in that fight, which I'm surprised by. And I think that, you know, talking to Jake, I think that gives him a little credit that he's looking for people to start to realize that the kid can actually box. For him to be a favorite over Tyron Woodley is insane to me, man. It's just insane.
I don't think
he's bigger. People forget how much bigger he is, which you mentioned.
Did you see the face-off?
He has been studying.
He's taller. You know, you look at Woodley's, even his UFC fights, he's a short guy for the division, but he's jacked.
Yeah, he's jacked.
And he has more power than anybody Jake's ever been with, whether it's in training, inside the ring. So it's a real fight for Jake.
Look, I love the face-off because they were talking trash. There was energy. I thought somebody was going to get thrown through a glass door or something. It was wild. Do you think, though, that's the best strategy for Woodley, to come in and demean this guy and think, I'm just going to knock him out and talk trash, be an equal troll with him? Or do you think it's better to come in there and really study the angles and respect the game and realize this guy does have some boxing skills?
I know Woodley does respect Jake to a certain extent, but what worries me is Woodley goes, this is going to be the night of my career.
No,
and I go, God, I don't like that attitude,
right?
Because if you underlook this guy, if you overlook him, you're going to run some problems, man.
And the other part was, that was an MMA fight, his last fight against Vicente Luque, but one of the lessons that we had talked about on Morning Combat, Brian and I host a show together, was that, okay, he was a little bit listless in the loss to Kamaru and the loss to Colby and maybe some of the other ones.
He's checked out.
And Gilbert Burns. But the loss to Vicente Luque, okay, he rocked Luque, no doubt about it. No one would ever say Woodley doesn't have a huge punch and isn't athletic. But he had to fight, like, Tyron Woodley's very intelligent, and he had to fight outside of that to, like, get the vigor going. And so he wasn't really his calculated self. That was not the Woodley that hit the pull-2 counter on Till.
Yeah, it was desperate acts of a desperate man in a lot of ways. Who should he be, the calculated guy or the guy that goes after Jake Paul's chin right away?
I mean, you're boxing, right? So you're totally out of your element.
A little bit, but at the same time, Woodley's a wild card trained guy. He's been there, I think he said, since 2007 at wild card training on specifically boxing. And then Woodley goes, and for me, I don't have to worry about a takedown. I can just focus on landing that big overhand. He's like, dude, this is a dream come true. My biggest concern with Woodley is, how much do you want to do this? Because when I watch his fights, the Vicente Luque fight, he said he was out of pocket. Really not the Woodley we know.
Right.
But I felt like desperation, so he just let things fly there.
Yep.
You look at the Usman fight, the Colby Covington fight. To me, that's a Woodley who does not want to be in there. And he admitted, he goes, I was just living a fast life, man. I wasn't training like I should. I was doing all this stuff. I was on the go. I wasn't eating right, not training right, not getting rest. I was just going through the motions.
Right.
So you know, if he goes through the motion against Jake Paul, he's going to get knocked out.
And in fairness to Woodley, to a degree, he did have the 3 losses first before the Vicente Luque fight, but he got wrestled in all of those. He got totally, I mean, yes, Burns did well with striking, but I'm just saying a lot of the way in which all those guys were able to win, the Covingtons, the Burnses, the Usman, they had to take him to the mat, they had to hold him down. Obviously, that's completely not a relevant factor here whatsoever. Still, he is 39. He'll be 39 when they fight.
For a long time.
That's a little bit old for that weight class, I feel like.
I mean, he has explosive power, and I think that's what you got to lean on. In these celebrity-ish fights, this is the equivalent of a fighter having only 3 pro bouts, what Jake Paul does.
Yep.
They're not always the most scientific. It can come down to one big punch. So Woodley is that guy where he's a live dog at the very least because of that. You have
to me, that the biggest thing in that fight is, does Woodley want to do it? Is the passion there? If it is, we got to fight our hands. If it's not, he's gonna get embarrassed. But I do want to say this. I think it's fantastic that Jake, in his 4th fight, is fighting a guy in Woodley. To me, that's a real legit fight.
Yeah.
Woodley is not an easy fight, man. You know, you hear Stephen A. Smith like, he needs to fight a boxer, dude. It's his 4th fight.
Right.
And millions of people are buying this.
And he has no amateur experience either.
Literally 4th fight.
Right.
Literally 4th fight.
Right.
And fighting a guy in a vet in Woodley, to me, is insane.
Yeah, at that point,
You have to respect it.
yeah, no, I think certainly of all of the exhibition stuff I've seen, Jake's move to take on Woodley is an overture towards seriousness. In fact, between he and Logan Paul, you know Logan better than Jake, right?
Correct.
For the audience's sake, what are some of the bigger differences between them, I guess from a personality standpoint?
Yeah, you know, Jake's known as the wild child. He has like kind of this careless, reckless attitude, but he has both of them, and I think comes from their father, you know, blue-collar guy in Ohio. They have this crazy work ethic, whether it's, you know, making YouTube content. You know, they don't miss a week making that content, making it go viral. They're brilliant at that, but they've used that same work ethic and brought it to boxing. And granted, it's only been 3 years, but with their resources, they're getting the best of the best. So, you know, I think for Jake, he's a little more calculated. He's a little more calculated in it, and to him, signing with Showtime, to me, shows that he's taking this serious.
Yeah.
I also think he realizes Woodley's a tough fight, because in their contract, if Woodley beats him, it's an automatic rematch. So to me, he knows he's going into some deep water.
And, you know, I spent some time with him in Puerto Rico in their camp, and Jake badly wants the respect as a real fighter. He wants you to give him the respect for the work he puts in. Where Logan is more like, I'm crashing your party, bro, and I'm going to make this into a meme.
Right.
And that's what he's going to try to do Sunday night.
Right. It seems to me that Jake is more trying to make himself a fixture in the sports or the combat sports world. I think Logan, I guess we'll have to see what happens on Sunday. I suspect it will go poorly for him in terms of the winning and losing scenario, but it's almost like do you foresee this being not long term? How much longer, I guess that was what I would ask, do you think Logan Paul will do this, assuming that, let's say, Sunday is not a calamity for him?
Yeah, to your point, I think Jake's in a marathon, and, you know, he's going to have way more fights than Logan. And I think Logan's on a sprint, and this is a stop. He stopped fueling up on celebrity, getting more views, getting more famous. He's all over national news now, which before he was kind of just this YouTube guy, which is a huge audience, but, you know, he's on mainstream outlets now. So to me, for Logan's a stop. I would be disappointed if Jake's next fight was Floyd Mayweather. That's not his plan.
I want to ask you, we're about to see them get on the scales. Then they're going to face off, and that's what everybody wants to see. You've been there before at the highest level with the UFC. It's intense, but if you're Logan Paul and you've already had the moment, the viral moment of the build when the brother stole the hat, it was gotcha hat. What do you do if you're Logan Paul? Do you try to get Floyd Mayweather's respect? Do you try to go crazy? Conor was rock hard with emotion and acting like a crazy man opposite Floyd. What would you do if you were him?
I think, to me, a little disappointing if there's nothing. Like, if Jake doesn't come out and do something, or if Logan doesn't do something, for what they do, like, they know it's going to go viral and sell the fights. And Logan wants the most money possible. If it's just a relaxed Logan, that's not really in their nature, man. There's going to be, I would assume, something. There's going to be something.
We're going to have to see what happens, and in fact, we're going to do that right now. Let's throw it to the stage to the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Throw the hands up. Throw the hands up. Throw Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in Hollywood, Florida, as we present the official weigh-in for our exhibition featured attractions taking place tomorrow night at Hard Rock Stadium. And it's all brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, Fan Meal, Mav Athletics, and Showtime Pay-Per-View. Well, tomorrow night's pay-per-view event opens up with a 4 2-minute round exhibition bout. At this time, we invite our fighters onto the stage at this time. Please welcome them. First, no stranger to combat sports, a versatile MMA, boxing, and bare knuckle fighter. Please welcome to the stage, Brian Maxwell. And now his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, from Miami, making his boxing debut. Here is the multi-talented former NFL star receiver, Chad Ochocinco Johnson.
Cameras in the ceiling, Celine on my arm. We get ghosts.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring them to the scale at this time. First, the MMA and bare knuckle brawler from Roanoke, Virginia. Onto the scale, here is Brian Maxwell.
The Chad side? Yeah. I tell her meet me in the bathroom. I go out of order, running her for knocking at the door. And she's screaming out, I'm coming in my youngin' in my oven room.
Brian Maxwell weighs in at 183.5 pounds, 183.5 pounds. And now we invite to the scale at this time. Once again, he'll be making his boxing debut, the popular, multi-talented, 6-time Pro Bowler, the one and only Chad Ochocinco Johnson.
The Rock in the building. Khalid. Sup, Ramel. Sup, Burrell in the house. Yes.
Chad Ochocinco Johnson weighs in at 179.5 pounds, already 179.5 pounds.
Wake up in the morning feeling live. God must be really on my side. Got the baddest people by my side. Cash make the people come alive. Everybody know I set the vibe. Bet I steal your bitch like it's a crime. All my was come from doing time. Hands in the air with testify. Thank God that I'm alive. I've been popping all my life. It's like my best.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, opening us up our pay-per-view event taking place tomorrow night, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Available pay-per-view, Fan Meal, and Showtime pay-per-view.
Thinking the Lord I'm alive. Your diamonds not looking alive. Feeling trust swerving is wild. Heard you be talking to 12, but I do not fuck with them guys. First time I see me a bill, I thought it was gold in my eye. Yes. The coupe all red inside. Duplex shot outside. We not feeling your vibe. Yo, played out, retired.
Here with Chad Johnson. You said we wouldn't see the Ochocinco during fight week. You're out of your element. You respect the game. Now that you've been on the scale and facing off, do you feel like a real fighter?
Yeah, because I lost 20 pounds. 20 pounds, man. But I'm enjoying the moment. I want to thank Leonard. I want to thank Floyd for the opportunity. Obviously, those that do know me, I'm always willing to try stuff. I'm not scared to fail in front of the world. I might win, I might not. It's about taking chances, and that's what I've been doing all my life. And that's what we're going to do Sunday.
You got 4 rounds to show us what you got, and a real fighter, Brian Maxwell, standing across from you. What's the key to victory for number 85?
The key to victory? Keep your fucking hands up.
Best of luck to you.
Cause you a fool, you crazy.
we go. The time has come from the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, to bring out our fighters for the weigh-in for our main event of the evening. Once again, brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, Fanmio, Mav Athletics, and Showtime Pay-Per-View. Please welcome the fighters now as they come to the stage. First, the acclaimed worldwide social media sensation. He'll be making his Showtime debut. Here is the multi-talented Logan, the Maverick Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, his opponent is a legend of the sport of boxing, undefeated in 50 professional bouts, the Hall of Famer, the one and the only Floyd "Money" Mayweather.
Got the streets going.
I got the streets going crazy. I got the freeze going crazy. And I get stuck on the dash. She call me a cool 180. And all these big asses right on my neck. I tell her come do something. Throw my trunk in the hood, pull up in the hood. They tell me I'm going too crazy. Hey, my bitch is rocking shit, that ain't my.
All right, fans, here we go. Let's bring our fighters to the scale. At this time, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds of boxing. First onto the scale, the worldwide sensation looking to shock the world. With a background in wrestling, boxing, and just about anything outrageous. Onto the scale, please welcome Logan, the Maverick Paul. £189.5 pounds, 189.5 pounds for Logan, the Maverick Paul.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the scale from Las Vegas, Nevada. Truly one of the all-time greats of the sport, the 11-time 5-division champion of the world, the undefeated Floyd "Money" Mayweather.
Lil CC on the beat. Yeah. I mean, where should I really even start?
155 even pounds for Floyd "Money" Mayweather. 155 pounds.
Oh my God. I got 2 phones, one in the charts. What do you got coming?
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's showtime. The main event of the evening, Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul. 8 rounds of boxing in an exhibition brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, Fanmio, Mav Athletics, and Showtime Pay-Per-View.
Logan Paul, one more sweep to the biggest fight of your life. You've been a disruptor, but you've been confident the whole way. What'd you learn from looking into Floyd's eyes ahead of this big fight?
He not ready. He don't know what to expect. And this is not the biggest fight of my life. This is the biggest fight of his life. Because he's got a lot on the line, and he got everything to lose. I'm going to go in there and have fun. The fact that I'm even up here proves this shit is a simulation. None of it's real. The aliens are coming in June. Just be ready. Tomorrow, I break the fucking simulation and beat the greatest boxer in the history of the planet.
We want to know, how do you do it? Some people giving you a puncher's chance. Some people giving you no chance. How do you upset the apple cart?
I'm going to get it done. It's a fight. Anything can happen. Floyd's not ready. That's all I can say.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Floyd, you've been here many times. You've been perfect. How different is this compared to everything you've accomplished in your career?
I've been here before, so I know what it takes. I fought every different style you could possibly fight. Height don't win fights. Weight don't win fights. Fighting wins fights at the end of the day, and I can fight.
Some people think maybe you're looking for the knockout, revenge, got your head, all that ridiculousness. How does Sunday night end?
Once again, I'm not worried about a hat. I don't worry about what nobody say. One thing I can do, I can fight. I've been at the top level for 25 years, so I know what it takes when it's a fight of this magnitude.
Much respect, champ. Best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, so Logan Paul weighing in at 189.5 pounds, so he avoids any sort of fine. He would have been fined $100,000 for every pound he weighed over 190 pounds, but he comes in under the limit of 190. Floyd Mayweather at 155, so a 34.5-pound difference as they get set for their 8-round special exhibition on Showtime Boxing pay-per-view. This is going to be an absolute spectacle. Stream Mayweather, Logan Paul live. Showtime pay-per-view. Order the fight right now at Showtime.com/pay-per-view. Watch it live Sunday night on your computer or go to streaming device with the Showtime app. Much more ahead as we get you set for this spectacle, the exhibition between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Will head back out to Miami. Be joined by Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell, who you heard there during the ceremonial weigh-in. Keep it locked. You're watching CBS Sports HQ.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.